This is Creepy and Geeky. Welcome to Creepy and Geeky. I'm your host, Robert, and on today's episode, I'm continuing my series on Edgar Wright films with Baby Driver, with returning guest Ashley Thomas. But first, Donna and I are talking about the stuff we got into this last week. How's it going, Donna?
Hey Robert, it's going pretty good so far. I'm excited to hear this one with Ashley now. Oh my gosh. Baby Driver is one of my favorites, so
No,
I
okay.
couldn't do them all with you, but I'm happy to hear how everybody else's thoughts are about these movies. So
Right.
I'm gonna be super transparent. Man, work has been crazy. My husband just turned 51 and he's grousing about being an old
Two
guy.
weeks
And I'm
after I did.
yeah, and my birthday's 2 weeks after this, so it's like now becomes the month where I'm poor because then a week after that is my daughter's birthday. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Um, but I'll be
Man.
honest with you, I did not have a lot going on. I only have a couple of things that well, 3 things to talk about, and I'm pretty sure you already know 1 or 2 of them.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to add things to my list, even though I know I don't have a lot of time to do this. But I was just looking through my watch history, and I was like, oh, I gotta talk about these real quick. So anyway, but yes, so we're gonna do a real quick. We're not gonna like probably go into as in depth into all of these, um, but but I do. There's a few things I definitely want to talk about. Hopefully they're hopefully a lot of these are going to cross over, so it won't be that
I'm
big
pretty
of a
sure
deal
they
if
will.
yeah. So all
So the
right.
very
Well,
first thing was oh, go
let,
ahead.
let me go ahead and start because I got to see two movies this
Oh,
last
that's
week.
right, you got to
So
see
yeah,
2 movies.
so I did get to go out and we saw what is it, A Working Man, which was just okay. It was fine. It was the new Jason Statham movie directed by David Ayer,
Mhm.
who previously they worked together on Beekeeper, and Beekeeper I think is a stronger, more fun film. This one was just kind of like middle of the road, so it was just okay.
Yeah,
So
sometimes you pull them out too quick and it's like it doesn't hit the same. Like Beekeeper was a lot of fun and you were invested. I
yeah,
don't know if you're invested with these characters and
yeah,
working
there's
with
some
them.
fun in it. There's some good fun characters in it, and of course, obviously a lot of good action and stuff. But overall, it was just middle of the road. So I
Yeah.
mean, it's definitely worth a watch. But if you haven't been if if it's your kind of thing, I would wait till video. So
Yeah,
or streaming or whatever. It's still like
absolutely.
old school video. So anyway, but go ahead, hit me with one of your things real quick.
So I'm pretty sure you already know about this. It's the Badlands teaser
Yes,
trailer.
Predator
They
Badlands.
the Predator. I knew you would know because
Oh,
I
of
know that that
course.
is your favorite. But this one looks really good. It's like, the
Hmm.
Predator is like super young, so we get kind of a,
Yes.
I don't know
We get
how
a
they
Predator as the
mark their age.
protagonist.
Right. And he looks like he
Yeah.
might be, 20. I don't know how they age.
Well,
But
from what I understand, he's the runt. That's
oh
what the whole
wow.
thing is. He's the runt of the like whoever, like I guess of the family
Of
or
the
something
pack
like
of
that. And so he's
yeah.
got to prove himself. So that's the
And it was
gist of
nice
the
seeing
story.
Elle Fanning in
Elle
this.
Fanning. Yeah.
And,
Uh,
I think we have a Wayland Yutani
Oh yeah.
connection with that, so, yeah, that teaser trailer came out, I'm super excited about that.
Yeah.
What that was one of the things that crossed over. I have a feeling I'm gonna say the other one that crossed over, but if you need to go ahead and say your next one.
No, so yeah, no, I agree with you. I think Predator Badlands could be a lot of fun. It's definitely making they're hiding it, but not hiding it with the Weyland
Mhm.
Yutani connection. So they're definitely gearing up for like more of an alien predator,
Yeah.
thing again. Maybe we'll get a better one than we got from the
See, and
previous
then we'll
two.
both be
So
happy because I love the
exactly.
alien and you love the
Exactly. Well,
predator.
that's the same with Harrison. Harrison, I showed him the trailer and he's like, yeah, whatever. And I'm like, what? But he likes the Alien franchise. But
What I thought was a
that being
really
said, he's only seen like maybe half of them. So
really?
yeah. Yeah, I
So
think he's seen the two newest ones and the two the Alien and Aliens.
Original.
He's never
Yeah.
seen 3 or Resurrection. So I'm like,
A lot of people
I
don't
mean,
like those, but
fair.
I
I mean,
do.
fair. He doesn't really need to see those two, I guess. But
I'm not gonna say that.
yeah.
But just really quick, in that
Yes.
Badlands trailer, there is a very cool Easter egg when they're
Hmm.
showing like all of the skulls of the creatures they've killed on the wall. There
Yeah.
actually is a skull from one of the Independence Day aliens on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And somebody has suggested that like the really big, kind of almost humanish one that's above the human one is a
Hmm.
gorilla head and could be from Planet of the Apes, since
Oh
Fox also
wow.
owns that franchise. Well, Fox did own that franchise. Disney owns it now. So,
Hmm.
but yeah. So, all right. Yeah. So my other movie that I got to see this week was Until Dawn. And I know that's that's got a lot of controversy because a lot of people who really like the game are really kind of didn't care for it. I liked it. I being somebody who hadn't played the game, I didn't have any connection to it. So I was glad that I got to enjoy it without all that kind of like baggage, I guess.
Hmm.
And I thought it was good. I thought for what it was a fun movie. I found out later on that there were connections to the like definitely there's connections to the game and stuff. And so that's exciting. Makes me want to play the game. It's been on my wish list for a while now. So hopefully one of these days it'll go cheap enough that I can get it on my Steam Deck. So
Yeah, I think it's kind of, like you said, that's the best way to go into it without knowing any of the game
yeah.
stuff and just having a good time with it. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, and I imagine the kills and the creatures were probably
Hmm.
really creepy.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a lot of fun. So all right. Oh, what's your next thing?
The next thing I wanted to talk about was the Onlyfangs trailer I
Ah,
got.
yes.
I
I was
figured
going
that
to talk
would
about
be in the
that was
other
one of
one.
my big ones. Yes.
Well, we can both talk
Yes, we
about it.
could
You go
talk
ahead
about
and
it
talk
together.
about it.
Yes. No, 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 no. We'll talk about
Yeah,
it together.
so I just saw it probably a little bit before I came on to talk to you, and I was wowed at how much the production value has gone
Oh
up
my
with
gosh.
everybody. It looks really I cannot wait to see
Like
this
I
movie.
am telling you, like they like you watch their movies. Like when you watch AP Films movies, they
Hmm.
have gotten better like each movie, but I
Right.
think this is like a leap beyond what they were doing,
Yeah.
even with Murder Size. Like this is just like fantastic, and the
Yeah, I
cast
cannot
in it,
wait.
like everybody's knocking it out of the park. I was so excited to see. I'm on their Patreon, so I got to see the trailer last night. They dropped it to us early before anybody else got to
Hmm.
see it. So, so I was like really excited because it's nice to be in the inner circle. You got to
Yeah, and
pay,
it's great
but
to
you're in the inner
support
circle.
them because they're
Yeah.
doing
Oh,
so much fun
they
horror stuff.
are. Oh my God. I'm so excited. This
Gives
movie
me
has me
hope.
so excited. Yeah. The level of production values, like everybody who's acting in it is like fantastic.
Hmm.
They look like they're having a lot of fun. Though I've mentioned it both on the Patreon post and in my I reposted it on Instagram too. But Adriana, oh my gosh, I'm gonna butcher her name. I think it's Uchishiba, Adriana Uchishiba. She's fantastic. Just in the trailer that I watched, or
Hmm.
in the trailer, she has a lot of very funny comedy bits in this. She's the one that says, "No killing, that's the best part," And so I just like she was cracking me up, and like I even mentioned it to her, and like because I tagged her in the post and everything. She actually like messaged me back and she said, thank you and everything. So, um, which was really nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was excited to, uh, uh, what is it? See that trailer and to like really, I don't know. I'm really excited for this. It's fun that this is the first one I've helped to, crowdfund as well.
Me
So it's
too.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's fun to be kind of like on the ground floor of it and everything. So
And they're really appreciative of it, and so are the
yeah.
actors, like, just all of the people that work with them, they appreciate every little bit of help
Oh
that they can
yeah.
get, and
Yeah.
it shows how much they love their
I'm
fans and
jealous.
what they do.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm jealous of all the podcaster people that were on that in that little montage of all the podcasters talking about it.
Well, maybe
But I
maybe
didn't
the
pay.
next
I
time
didn't
they
pay
do
for that
something.
level. I didn't. I'll
Yeah.
admit I didn't pay for that level. I didn't pay to get an on-screen thing, so it's fine. But maybe next time I'll have a little bit more money to do that. But yeah, I'm so excited.
Yeah, and
This is
we've
gonna be
been
such a
huge
fun movie.
fans. We've been
Oh yeah.
supporting them, ever since we
Oh
saw
yeah.
Murder Size, and I went on about it, and so
Yeah.
I'm glad to see them finally arrive and people finally
Oh
joining
man.
on and seeing
They
how awesome they are because we already knew how great they were.
absolutely. I think honestly this movie's gonna knock them up into another
Oh yeah.
freaking park here. So I think they're gonna hopefully, fingers crossed. Um so there's a couple more things, a couple more weird trailers that came out. One was for the I Know What You Did Last Summer
Mhm.
requel. Um Katrina got really excited. We saw that last week in front of Until Dawn. I'd already seen it either earlier in the day or the day before. But so she got to see it and she was super excited about that because she likes Jennifer Love Hewitt, who's on that show 911.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so she she was really excited. She's like, "Oh my god!" So now she's going back and trying to rewatch the first two the first two movies. So she's caught up on the lore.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah, so yeah, no, it looks fun. It looks like it's going to be as goofy and weird as the first
Oh
first
yeah.
two. Um, but yeah, did you have anything else?
Only one last thing is that
All right.
they're making a sequel for Ready or Not, and they titled it
Oh
Ready or Not,
yes,
Here I
here,
Come.
yeah, yeah. I'm so excited.
So it's great because it's got a great cast. Obviously, Samara
Yes,
Weaving is back. We've got Catherine Newton. We've got Elijah Wood. We've got Kevin Durant, who was in Abigail with Catherine Newton.
yes,
Um, Also, David Cronenberg, my secret boyfriend, is in this, and Sean Hatosi from The Faculty. So
yes,
he's on the pit now, and everybody's
yeah.
raving about him on that show. But I always loved him from The Faculty. But yeah, that was it. I was excited about
You didn't say
them
one of the
announcing
biggest
it.
people who was cast in this. It was Sarah Michelle Gellar is also cast in it as well.
Oh, I forgot about her, and my son is gonna kill me because he loves her. He loves her so much.
I couldn't believe it. You
Buffy
missed that.
people, I don't know how I
Yes.
did that. Forgive me, Sarah, forgive me if you ever hear
Yes.
this. It wasn't intentional. It's just
Yeah, I don't think
it's
that's happening anytime soon, but yeah, go.
yeah, this is not our normal time of doing this, so my brain
No,
has
no.
already been mushed for a couple hours.
Yeah.
Um So yeah, that's all I got. I didn't really have a whole lot because it was a slow week, but
Yeah.
I'm glad that we got to talk about the stuff that we talked about
Yeah.
and that you got to see great
Well, I got
movies.
one more to talk about real quick. It was a trailer
Mhm.
for a new movie called Heads of State. I believe it's only going to be on Prime. Like it didn't say it was going to theaters, so it looks like it's an Amazon Prime movie.
That looks
Um
so cute.
it
Oh my
does. It looks
god.
hilarious. It's John Cena and Idris Elba in an action movie. John Cena plays the U.S. president, and Idris Elba plays the British prime minister. And
Right.
they are on Air Force One when it gets attacked, and they both end up like parachuting off of it and landing in a foreign country.
This
And
is
they're having
straight
to
out
get
of
back.
the Tango and Cash playbook of
Yeah,
one ups, and then we just saw them in the Suicides. Excuse
yeah,
me,
yeah.
in
That's
the
true.
Suicide
I
Squad.
forgot about
So it's
that.
like,
Yeah, so they've already
yeah,
had a good
so
working relationship. Yeah.
this is
So I
gonna
think
be a
it's
lot of fun.
yeah, I think it's hilarious because it's John Cena's playing a president who was a former action movie star. So
A la, like,
yeah,
Arnold Schwarzenegger,
yeah, yeah,
he became
exactly.
president.
So
Oh my
it just
gosh.
looks like a lot of fun. And then it also has Priyanka Chopra Jonas,
Jonas,
and
yeah.
yeah, and
How did he swing that? My god. Okay,
I
never
don't
mind.
know. And then Jack
She's
Quaid,
gorgeous.
Jack
Again,
Quaid,
Jack Quaid.
Jack
This
Quaid,
dude,
like coming out of nowhere
he's
again.
making movies every 5 minutes. Like, what
But
the fuck?
he's looking like he's having so much fun in this movie. So I'm like, all
Hell yeah,
right,
because
I'm
he ain't carrying the weight of this movie. He's gonna either be the little
one.
hacker
He
dude
doesn't
or the
look like
guy that
he's
gives him the gadgets.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, it looks like a lot of fun. So, but yeah, check those out. The trailers up for all of these on the show notes. But before we move on to the rest of the show, why don't you let everyone know what's going on your show this week?
Yeah, just still covering and recapping The Last of Us episodes on Fridays, and I still have my minisodes on Mondays. This minisode this week is going to be about top 5 apocalyptic families and horror, but it has an
Hmm.
asterisk because there is one that's not actually horror, but if you're in an apocalypse situation, it's horror. I don't give a shit
Right,
what you
right.
say. But
Exactly.
that's what I have this week. So yeah, keeping up with those on Monday for the ones that don't watch The Last of Us at all.
Right.
So
All right, sounds good. Yeah, and off air, we're gonna have to talk very briefly before I gotta go. But we'll have to talk about the second episode of The Last of Us real quick. So, but yeah, for everybody else, stay tuned for the rest of the episode with Ashley Thomas and I talking about Baby Driver. On today's episode, we're continuing my series of Edgar Wright episodes with Baby Driver. Joining me for this is returning guest Ashley Thomas. Ashley is a writer at fangirlish.com and host of podcast 616, We Are Starfleet, Mission Log, Genealogy, and the Video Store podcast. Welcome back to the show, Ashley.
Hey, Robert. Thank you for having me back on the show, buddy.
Yeah, it's always great to have you on, and we get to talk some Edgar Wright today. The really fun kind of heist based movie, Baby Driver. So
Yeah.
um, this one's interesting too because it's also the first one of his movies that he wrote entirely by himself. Um,
Hmm.
all three of the Cornetto trilogy movies he co-wrote with Simon Pegg, and Scott Pilgrim was co-written with Michael Bacall. So when watching this, I was like, I noticed it just said written and directed by Edgar Wright, and so I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting that this was his first one. But a little bit of trivia for that: it's set in Atlanta. It's actually filmed and set in Atlanta, near where I live, and
Great.
so so that part was fun, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But he actually got local writers to help him kind of localize it. So
Sweet.
they threw in little touches here and there to mention things that were about Atlanta specifically. So that way it had that feeling of, when they were talking about certain things, it would ring authentic. So this is actually his first movie filmed in America as well, because all three of the Cornetto trilogy were filmed in England, and Scott Pilgrim was filmed in Canada. So,
Hmm.
so little bits of trivia there at the top that I found interesting about this movie specifically. This one is interesting because it doesn't use anybody from any previous movie. Um, and it plays up kind of where the previous movies all had nice soundtracks, great um, little needle drops throughout the way. This one seems to really be specifically. I mean, even like Scott Pilgrim was definitely about the music and everything like that, but this one's very heavily about the music, and
Right.
I found that aspect of it interesting. He's one of those directors like a Tarantino and a James Gunn who really meld those soundtracks into the fabric of um, the storytelling itself, so that it becomes a part of the storytelling. And I dug that a lot. So even if I don't enjoy most of the music like outside of the movie, and that's the thing too, it's I found that interesting. It's like even with James Gunn and Quentin Tarantino's movies, where the soundtracks are perfect for what's happening on the screen, is like I'll go back and I'll listen to the soundtrack later, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I don't like most of these songs outside of the movie. They're really well done for the movie. They give that that extra bit to it, but inside, like outside of the movie, I'm just like, it's okay. So,
Hmm.
but what are your overall feelings about this movie in general?
This is a movie where, I tend to like Edgar Wright's work anyway.
Mm-hmm.
His directorial style really jives well with me. I mean, I don't say it lightly. I think Shaun of the Dead might be a perfect movie. I think it's a great film from top to bottom, and it has so much heart in it that is like, and stylistically is done so well that, and it gets overlooked because it's a silly zombie horror comedy.
Hmm.
But I honestly, I think he's a really great storyteller, and I really like his directorial work. I really love how music, as you said, is as much a fabric of this film as it is just, hey, let's have cool tunes play it.
Right.
But it's the needle drops are perfect. They like you can do a needle drop and it'd be super cheesy and make me like want to like punch something because it's so dang cheesy. And I, as somebody who loves cheese, like if I think it's too cheesy, it's real bad.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
uh, but with this, I just like, oh man, everything is just perfectly done, and well chosen. I love that 86% of the songs are all like baby.
Hmm.
Yeah, they all have the word baby in them because, and I, this is something I noticed watching it today, having not seen it for a couple of years, is that, oh, this actually really, it's something that's brought up in the film.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like you have all the songs. You got baby. And I love like all these songs. Like I love soul and Motown and
Yeah.
R&B. I love all that stuff.
No, I'll say with this one that
Yeah.
I will agree that most of the songs in this are just like really really good. Yeah, because I'm with you. I like
Yeah.
soul and R&B and funk and all that. So like it's definitely hits. Mo Most of the songs in this are really really good. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Um there that aspect I really love. It was fun to see like, oh, I have iPods for different days, and like that's really funny. As like, nowadays everybody just streams everything pretty much. I
Right.
really love physical media, and even like this, the iPod now is like almost an artifact because it's a designated music playing device, so you don't use
Right.
it for anything else. And that's almost foreign
Yeah.
nowadays, because you have one device that does all the things. Everybody has phones, but almost nobody talks on them. Well, the traditional use of a phone. So, but I love that hey, no, I have this tangible thing, and he's still like throughout in his personal life, he's creating tangible things like listening to music. You see why Baby grew up loving old soul and Motown and R&B. Well, look who his foster father is.
Right.
A deaf man who loves the vibrations of soul, Motown, and R&B. And so that's,
Hmm.
that you grow up listening to those records. So anyway, I just love how music is interwoven into the story. I think that's really cool. I think the driving scenes are really fun. I have family that lives in and outside of Atlanta, so I've been to Atlanta several times. Um, I love that he got people to help like make the film sound more Southern.
Yeah.
Especially with like the nicknames. Nicknames are a very Southern thing, like a
Hmm.
nickname or a pet name or whatever. Especially ones that are sweet sounding, like Buddy and Baby and Darling.
Yeah.
Like all of those are that rings really true. As a native Southern person,
Right. Yeah.
I that all rang really true for me. Um, and I don't know where Lily James is from, but she's got a nice soft Southern drawl. She sounds like my cousins. Um, oh, she's from England.
Yeah, I
Cool.
was gonna say I'm pretty sure she's English.
Well, you know
Which they
what?
do a pretty good job at doing like I think it's easier for them to do the southern accents.
It is. Yeah.
So
Walt Disney told Mary Costa this when Mary Costa was the voice of Sleeping Beauty in the original Sleeping Beauty, which is my favorite Disney movie, by the way. But Mary Costa's from my hometown of she's from Knoxville, Tennessee.
mm,
And she's like, "Well, I'm not English. How can I do like an English?" He's like, "The vowels are the same. Just do this." And so, because and it works. It works. She has like a soft English accent with a gentle Appalachian lilt. And I think Lily James does a good job with that in this one.
Right.
Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry, this is me
No, I
going off
agree.
on like aesthetic tangents that I enjoy in the film. I think like if I ding the film for anything, it's not because of the film, because I think the film is a very good film. It's very well made. Since this film has been released, we all found
Yeah.
out that Kevin Spacey and Ansel Elgort were skeevy. So
Yeah.
like, why? Why?
Yeah, that's the only I think that's the only reason why I don't revisit this more because
Right.
otherwise it's a very good movie despite the fact that they're in it. And so like if you were to take them out of like if it were to be remade with other people it would be great. But
Mhm.
yeah, that's definitely it makes it difficult to go back and rewatch him, because especially with Ansel Elgort being the main character everything. Thankfully, he doesn't talk too much, so
Right.
he didn't have a lot of lines. Um, but yeah, it revolves all around him and everything. But and then the Kevin Spacey of it all is like the major factor in it. And again, thankfully, he's not in it that much, but he is a major character in it. So it is kind of like, yeah, it's probably going to be the one least likely to go back to.
Right.
Um, but yeah, go ahead.
No, no, same thing. It's a film that and again, and you can see this in Edgar Wright's other work, like, music is always important.
Yes.
Things happening on the TV or things in the background are all connected and layered
Hmm.
into the story as well. Um, don't give me that any more lines from Monsters Inc. It pisses me off. That's so funny. Um, and that's what he does. Like he takes like, baby's a man of few words, and so he um what does he do? He just kind of repeats song lyrics or movie quotes or things like that, so he doesn't have to really, really talk to people.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. It, it's it's that kind of aesthetic thing that it makes me think that Edgar Wright is he's got to be he's kind of a guy like me who got sat in front of the TV a lot as a kid,
Yep.
and just kind of took everything in, and it's all part of the soup, and it just comes out when he makes these movies.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think he's definitely a firm Generation X kind of kid because that we were all like that. We are
Right.
like the
And
television.
I'm technically a xennial.
Yeah.
I'm a old millennial or a young Gen Xer, depends on whose chart you look at.
Right. So we all have a lot of that in common. We grew up in the age of television, the age of where it was the transitionary, like for those of us who are older, it's the transitionary period from the basic channels into cable. And then the kids who were growing up in the 90s were the ones who grew up with the wealth of the big boom in cable.
Mm.
Because when I was a kid, I was watching, Saturday morning cartoons and the like afternoon cartoons. Like those were the only cartoons we got was like weekday afternoons after we got out of school, and then and those were only for like maybe a couple hours, and then we'd get Saturday morning cartoons for like
Mm.
4 hours.
Right.
And we it beyond watching the things that our parents watch, because I've definitely watched a healthy dose of like Leave It to Beaver and
Right.
Brady Bunch stuff that was before my time. And so now, like, once that 90s period hit and the wealth of cable came out, and then you had the Disney channels and the Nickelodeons, and then later the Cartoon Networks and stuff like that, kids definitely had a much broader expanse of things that they could, pull from that was catering to them. Which I think is in a lot of ways is like really great.
Mm.
And expanded a lot. And I think, yeah, that does inform his you can see it throughout his filmography, including if you go back and watch his British TV show Spaced, which is very heavily influenced by popular culture.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and and I'll put it out there again that, and I've said it before on the podcast, that I believe popular culture is modern folklore. It's our version of telling stories. Folklore has always been, about passing on stories through either the written word or through, just, through oral traditions, and passing on either knowledge or just fantastic stories and everything. And now we have this visual medium that we can do that with movies and television shows and everything. We can craft these different stories to tell an idea that somebody has, and it can go far and wide to millions of people. And I love that aspect of it, because especially because then we get um other cultural stories.
Yeah.
We're seeing a huge amount of media coming from South Korea that people are embracing a lot more here in the United States, between K dramas
Mm-hmm.
and K horror and stuff like that, and lots of stuff. The Japanese horror of the early 2000s. So we're getting this like interesting cultural mishmash of everything, and I love that we're finally kind of crossing all those um borders and such like that. And so it just goes into, again, this English guy who's influenced by pop culture, both his own countries and Americas and everything, and just kind of mashing it all together into these wonderful stories.
Yeah, yeah, and I, the kind of the phenomenon you just described, Rob, is
Hmm.
actually it was actually the topic of my master's thesis. Uh, so this kind of thing is very much in my wheelhouse, and
Yes.
so part of, you know, talking about the music, not just how, you know, yes, music is a plot point because he needs it to drown out the tinnitus,
Yeah.
but it also each song like works so well thematically with this.
Hmm.
And you don't have to know anything about these songs to enjoy what's happening on the screen.
No. Yeah.
But if you listen closely to what is being sung or said in the songs, you're like, "Oh, I see what we're doing here." Um, there's a few songs that I noticed this time that I realized, oh, I know the intro to this song because it's used in a more modern song.
Mm.
And you hear how other people have sampled
Hmm.
different musical phrases and beats and things like that into other music. And I'm just like, oh, this is a really beautiful, Tolkien called it the cauldron of story. You're doing that same thing here with this movie, where the music is so much more than just like a set piece. It is a fabric. It is a piece of the storytelling. It is so like cooked in and baked into what is actually happening on the screen that if you took away the music, the movie would not be nearly as good. And
Yeah.
not just because the music's fun to listen to, but it tells so much of the story without the dialogue.
Right.
Yeah.
No, and I agree with you. And I think that's, goes back to what I was saying about like even listening to the music outside of the movie. You can appreciate the
Hmm.
music, but because of that melding of the movie and the music, it's hard to, at least for me, I know other people are like perfectly fine. But it's harder for me to listen to, some of the music. Like some of the music's great. There's definitely
Hmm.
songs from each one of these movies, each one of Tarantino's and James Gunn's and stuff like that, that I can listen on repeat. But there's other ones that are just like it doesn't work quite as well without the
Hmm.
accompanying visuals.
Hmm.
And they are too linked in a lot of ways for me to appreciate it fully, for that reason. Um,
Right.
but yeah, no, I just, yeah, this I think what he does is really great. He's a great writer. He's a great director. He's one of, and I've mentioned this on previous podcasts as well. He's one of the directors that I love because when you see a movie of his, it's an Edgar Wright movie because he's got visual flourishes and ways of doing things like in editing that are his little touchstones. And so it definitely is he's one of those directors that you can appreciate is for that visual style. Because there's a lot of directors that are fine. They do great jobs. They do a good job, but I can't pick them out from any other director, you know. Um, at least visually speaking.
Mhm.
And so it's great when you have these people who are like him, like Sam Raimi, people who, when you go into a movie of theirs, you're going to be getting certain shots, you're going to get, certain types of storytelling. And I, that's what appeals to me a lot with his work, especially. Um, and that's why I just like even with this movie, even with the two very questionable people being a part of the cast, is still a fun movie in and of itself. And I don't want to take away from the rest of the cast and the people who were involved in making the movie because it is very well done, very fun movie. Um, and it's just I think everybody should at least watch it once, enjoy it for what it is, and if you choose not to watch it again, I totally understand.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And
um,
the thing is everybody's got different lines on where they separate art from artist,
exactly.
and nobody does it consistently.
Yeah,
Um, the kinds of things that Kevin Spacey and Ansel Elgort are accused of make it extremely difficult for me to
yeah,
separate art from artist, and which is frustrating because I really love this movie,
yeah.
and so borrow it from the library if that will relieve your conscience.
Right.
Um, but it's it's still such a really great movie, and I hate that this dings it for me.
Yeah.
Um, definitely lessens my enjoyment.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I still own it. I still bought it even on
Hmm.
4K, you know, because I wanted to support at least the other people who are involved in it.
Right.
I think that's what's ultimately comes down to it. When it's part of a collaborative media, like say a comic book or a movie or something like that, where I can sit there and go, look, I don't like somebody who's involved in this, but I can appreciate the work that everybody else put into it. And even if I only watch it once or twice, then it'll be worth it in the long run for me to have this in my collection. Will I be buying anything by J.K. Rowling? No, never, ever, ever again.
Mm.
But that's you know my choice to make. I feel like anything that I paid into her stuff would go largely to her. And it's just the you however you want to like rationalize it, I guess, in some
Hmm.
ways for yourself. That's on you for sure, 100%. I'm not going to pass judgment on anybody, for doing that. I would hope that whatever, because I'm sure I'm still shopping at places that are being boycotted and everything like that. I'm not fully up on everything that such and such is done. I go back to this thing uh that it's there's a saying called what is it? um oh man, I can't remember it now. There's no ethical consumption under capitalism.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so you have to realize that almost every business is kind of shitty in some way. Every and that goes to movie makers, publishers, stores, restaurants, whatever. It's very hard to go to any one place and say, well, at some point along that spectrum, somebody didn't do something kind of shady or shitty or whatever. And so you can choose to go to other places, absolutely 100%. But sometimes some people have no choice but to go to those places, like Walmart. Walmart's not a great place to go shopping, but not everybody has the ability to go shopping at a more expensive store. And so that's where people have to understand that, that's kind of what happens. Now with this movie, obviously, if you don't want to support Kevin Spacey or Ansel Elgort, avoid this movie 100%. And I'm not going to give you shit about it.
No.
I'll support your decision, but I'm also going to support your decision if you go to Walmart, if you go to Starbucks. I mean, you can get a cup of coffee someplace else for sure, but if you go to Starbucks, I don't care. Like, it's like ultimately it's your choice, it's your thing to do. These places aren't going away anytime soon, unfortunately. These businesses get dug in pretty hard, and it's hard to get rid of them. It's definitely a thing over time. But it's I mean, I'm glad that somebody like Kevin Spacey seems to have been chased off. Ansel Elgort not so much yet, but I haven't seen him pop up in much. um but it's good to see that at least in this regard that Kevin Spacey seems to have slinked off into some corner and hopefully won't be coming back anytime soon.
Right.
So, but that being said, this movie is still fantastic for what it is. We still have great performances, like you said, Lily James. We also have John Hamm. We have Jamie Foxx. We have a very small role for John Bernthal, even though he's like in the main cast, like credits.
Yeah, right.
So there's really wonderful people who are in this movie, and it's a great, it. I hesitate to call it a heist film. It's more just like the getaway driver movie. So 'cause you never
Heists
really
are
see
occurring. There's not like one grand heist, but
exactly.
heists are occurring, and
Yeah.
he's the getaway driver.
They're
So it's kind of
tangential to the plot. Yeah.
right. It's an interesting perspective that you don't always get in a heist movie. Is like, oh,
Yeah.
you are exclusively in the driver's seat. You're not actually seeing how the heist goes down.
Right. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, it's a really fun, very funny movie. It's got some interesting characters going on, some very brutal scenes. It's definitely a hard R-rated movie. Um and yeah, it's just fun. Like I said, mentioning earlier, it was filmed down here in Atlanta. And I live about 45 minutes to an hour outside of Atlanta. That sounds like a lot, but it's really not.
Not in the South, no.
No, not in the South. Um, but but it is a world of difference. That's what's funny too, is like once you like get out of the city proper, like it becomes more, um, it's still I'm still technically even 45 minutes to an hour out, I'm still technically in metro Atlanta. So that's how sprawling Atlanta has become, that it's just kind of extended its wings out that far. But yeah, but it's interesting too, because like I haven't been in Atlanta enough. I've been here in Georgia for almost 17 years now.
Oh wow, I didn't realize it
Yeah.
had been that long.
Yeah. So I've lived here for almost 17 years, and I maybe get to Atlanta, maybe a couple of times a year normally. My son has been working in Atlanta for the last few years, last 2 or 3 years. He's been working over there. He just got transferred to another location. He works for AMC, so he just got transferred to another location, which is closer. And so, but there was a time, like there was 6 months where I was having to drive him to work, and so that for that 6 months, at least 5 days a week, I was going into Atlanta, into the traffic and everything else. Was a pain in the butt. But yeah, but so I didn't like even when watching this, I was trying to recognize areas and like I think there were a couple of moments where I was like, oh, that might be somewhere, but because they're driving so fast, it's hard to really tell. But there were a couple of mentions of things about Atlanta, like streets and stuff that I was like, okay, that's cool. I understand those areas and stuff. And like they were talking about at one point, they were talking about how he was the kid baby is the Phantom of '85, and he's um, and he was driving on what's called Spaghetti Junction, which is like a major interchange here in Atlanta that it can get you very confused very fast. And thankfully, with GPS, well, even with GPS, I have missed exits. So, but most of the time with GPS, you can figure it out. But yeah, there's been plenty of times where I've missed an exit or two where I've just been like, oh man. And so yeah, so I can understand Spaghetti Junction being very, very big, and very confusing. So
Oh
it was
yeah.
cool to hear that bit of it, to hear that name checked in the movie. And I, like I said earlier, that it was that I think one of those was the things where when they were in the script, it was more of a that was the thing that was helped by the localized writers helping Edgar Wright place it definitively in Atlanta. So, but yeah, no, it's I'm trying to think. The story's really interesting because Baby has to he's a driver for Kevin Spacey's like nebulous like crime boss. Um it's not really explained exactly fully what he is. He's just a guy who sets up heists. He gathers a crew, and he says at one point he never gathers the same crew twice, but he
Hmm.
tends to use the same people on different crews.
Hmm.
So you see a couple of people pop up a couple of times in different crews, in different permutations. Um, and but Baby is always the driver because he's so good that he uses him for every heist.
Right.
And so he's the only one who's ever on the same crew. And there's a whole backstory and everything. I don't want to spoil too much. I don't want to get in too much like that because I think that this is an interesting movie that I think people should um, check out at least one time. Um, you know, it's a fascinating movie um, about interesting characters for sure. And like we said, the music plays a huge part of it, and the um, I don't know. It is very much a good amount of fun, and it very much fits in with Edgar Wright's filmography very well.
Yeah, yeah, and and it has a different feel to it. Maybe because it is shot
Yeah.
in the U.S. versus the U.K. with his other films. But there's and maybe it's the combination of me being from the South. It also having this really great musical soundtrack that really resonates with me. But I really just want to go for a drive after I watch Baby
I
Driver,
kind of feel
especially
like
like
it.
this time of year too, where it's
Yeah.
beautiful outside. I mean, my sinuses will disagree, but it's beautiful outside otherwise, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I always feel that way after watching any kind of like car movie like Fast and Furious or anything like that. I'm like,
Hmm.
yeah, this is what I love about driving. And it's like, yeah, but I don't drive anywhere near like that. So, but
I don't know that I drive anywhere near like that, but I there was gosh, that was wow. I'm just realized it was 17 years ago. 17 years ago, I was hit by a drunk driver.
oh wow.
Um, and it was me and my she and I've been she's my lifelong friend. She and I've been friends since we were 3 years old. She was in the car with me, and this guy ran the light, and at the time I drove a 2002 Dodge Durango. So I'm driving a tank,
Yeah.
basically. And and I turned to try to miss him because he was running the red light, and he ended up hitting the driver's side nose of my car.
Mm.
But not like me plowing straight into him or whatever. And the tow truck driver, when he came to pick up my car and my dad was there, he told my dad, he's like, that girl can drive. And I was like, damn right I can. But one of the other things I really liked about this movie, I'm not a car person. I don't like,
Yeah.
you know, I have a lot of cousins. I have one cousin that does like dirt track racing. I have cousins that work on cars and are mechanics and love muscle cars and things like that. I love that any car can be a getaway car in this movie.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
you know, what's Baby driving in the very first scene? He's driving a Subaru, like little like sporty sedan,
Yep.
you know? The only way you know it's sporty is it's got a spoiler on the back.
Right.
I forget the exact model, but I drive a Subaru Crosstrek, so I'm like, oh, my little tiny SUV out there can be a getaway car if I really wanted it to. So
It's about the driver, not the car.
exactly. And that's the thing. Like, you know, he's picking up every car that he can. Any car can be a getaway car. You know, big truck, you know, a purple Caprice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if I've never driven a Caprice. Have you?
No, but it looks like, I mean, that's an old car and
Uh,
it's boxy
mhm.
and it looks heavy as hell.
It is.
So,
One of a buddy of mine from high school drove one, and
yeah.
his was not nearly as swanky as that purple Caprice.
Yeah.
But
That would
that
be
thing
a
was a
car I would
freaking boat.
that honestly, that would be a car I would like, not necessarily the Caprice itself, but I love that purple. So like
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh man, that's such a good car."
Well, and you know, when I first saw it, I was like, you know, it kind of reminded me of like an old Buick that my granny used to drive. And of course, who does he throw out of the car? It's a little church
Yeah.
lady, and
Yep.
and it's like, and she gets out of the car. She's like, oh, and then she's like, oh, my purse. I was like, that is such a Southern lady thing to fret about. It's like the guy is stealing your freaking car, and you're like, oh
Yeah.
snap, I left my purse.
Yeah.
Um, but just the reaction, I was like, oh man, that's she reminded me a lot of my granny in that moment because it's exactly what she would have done.
That's too funny.
Oh yeah, it was great.
No, and that actually plays into an aspect at the end of the movie as well too, because you know it's I don't want to spoil anything, but so I'll just leave it at that. It plays into something at the end of the movie.
Mm,
Normally I'm okay with spoiling things and everything, but I feel like this is a movie, and it's not like there's a ton of spoilers to it or anything like that.
hmm.
But it's definitely a movie that I think people should watch because I don't think a lot of people have seen this.
Right.
And so I
That's
think
kind of
it's
surprising because wasn't it up for Best Picture when the year it came out?
no, was it? I
I
don't think so.
I thought it was at least nominated for some Oscars. It got a lot
Interesting.
of talk, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I do think it's interesting too. I mean, it might have done well. It might have done better than I think it did.
Nominated for three Oscars.
Oh, interesting.
It was nominated for film editing, sound mixing, and sound editing, which, you know, that makes sense.
Well, and it was a box office success as well,
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, it was what a $51.5 million budget, but it made 107.8 in the US,
Hmm.
in Canada, and 119 in other territories for a
Yeah.
total of 227. It was the 42nd highest grossing film of 2017. So I mean, there were 41 other movies, but it was Edgar Wright's highest grossing film to date. So I
Mm.
guess yeah, it was I just never hear anybody talking about it. And it could
Hmm.
be the Kevin Spacey of it, that could
Yeah,
be preventing a lot of that.
right.
Um, so, um, so yeah, it is interesting to see that, yeah, best film editing, best sound editing, best sound mixing. So yeah, I get that. Those are the really good choices for the Academy Awards. And I don't know if any of his other movies have been nominated for stuff. Um, I would feel like they would have, but I don't know.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, I just like I said, I just never hear anybody talking about it. And so
mm,
it's one of those things where I always felt like it didn't do well. I don't think I honestly think that I didn't see any of Edgar Wright's movies in the theaters up until his last one, Last Night in Soho.
mm.
Um, and but I always caught them afterward. I've always been a fan of his, but it's just like there was a long time where I wasn't a movie. I didn't go to the movies a lot. I was
Mm-hmm.
only going for like the big things like Star Wars and Marvel stuff and everything.
Sure.
And so, didn't have a lot of money at the time. So that's like, I had to pick and choose what I could go see. Now with the AMC A list, it's a lot easier and better
It
to
it
go.
it definitely is for
Plus,
sure.
both of my kids work for AMC, so even if I didn't do that, then I'd still be able to go see movies. And that's what I did for a long time. It wasn't until earlier this year, I think it was earlier this year, that I started doing A list. It might have been last year. I don't know. But I've been doing A list for a while, and it's nice to get all my tickets. I've already got all my tickets for you know new stuff coming out. I just as we were recording this, I just saw Sinners last night. Um,
I'm excited to see that one. I really
yeah,
want
yeah,
to.
it's really good. And then I've already got tickets to see. I hadn't seen it yet, so I'm gonna go see it on Tuesday. I'm finally gonna go see the new Jason Statham movie, A Working Man. Um,
Oh.
and then I've got tickets for Until Dawn and Thunderbolts already as well.
Oh, nice.
So,
I am going to be out of town the weekend Thunderbolts drop. So,
oh no,
yeah. So I'm going to have to catch up on that one. But
yeah,
lots of good stuff, and I've been working a lot. My mini jobs have kept me busy here the past few months. I haven't gotten to go to the movies as often as I'd like, but I am also an
yeah.
A-list member. So,
Yes,
um,
it's a great deal for anybody who
yeah.
doesn't realize. It's like, between 25 to $30 and you get three and they're bumping it up to four movies a
Yeah,
week.
yeah. The price is
Um
going up a few bucks a month, but you're getting
it
like a
is,
fourth movie.
but you're getting a fourth movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
if
still
if you
getting all
use it.
if you use
Like
it, and that's the thing, they're banking on you not using it. And
true. And there were definitely, I think November and December I only went to like one movie in
right.
each month. But then there's other movie or other months like this month where I've been to several, and it kind of balances out. And it's nice, especially on those weeks where you get like I actually watched two movies this last week. I watched Sinners and I watched the movie Freaky Tales also on Tuesday. So it's just
Mm.
been, the next couple of weeks have been like really busy with movies. And so it's nice for that. And you get it for anything, any regular showings of like regular Dolby, IMAX, 3D, any of that works. You don't get the special event things like I know I got into an early, like not an early one, but like one of those fan ones before. I think so. Maybe I was wrong and I paid for it. I don't remember, but you can get into some of the fan screenings. You can
Yeah.
sometimes get into the anniversary screenings, like when older movies come around that are having like a 40th anniversary or 25th anniversary or something like that.
Hmm.
Because I know I went to go see like Shaun of the Dead 20th anniversary.
Nice.
Yeah, so yeah, so I mean, so I did get to at least go back and watch Shaun of the Dead on the big screen since I'd missed
Yeah.
it the first round. So that's what I like to do is like sometimes there's movies I definitely missed during my lifetime at the theater. Um, like I went and saw Christine and The Thing. Um,
Yes, I've gotten to see both of those on the big
yes,
screen.
yeah,
There's an indie theater over here that does retro horror every
yeah,
October, and
that's
so
cool.
that was actually also how I got to see Shaun of the Dead on the big screen a few years ago.
Yeah,
It's
AMC's been
wonderful.
really good about that. They have their whole like thrills and chills thing that goes on, and
Yeah.
they do a lot
Uh,
of good stuff like that.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Um,
this is a local independent theater that does it,
yeah,
not an
that's cool.
AMC.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's
But yeah,
cool.
still like any chance I honestly, if you put an older movie on the screen, I'm more likely to go try to watch it than I am a newer one these days. And I don't know if it's just me getting old and curmudgeonly, but
Probably.
a lot, and maybe. I mean, a lot of the movies that are my favorite movies. They were movies that came out before I was born or when I was
Mm,
a little
right.
kid. I mean, my all-time favorite movie is Alien. I've managed to see it on the big screen 6 times now.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I did get to see that once. I think
Oh,
it
it's
was last
so
year.
worth it. So worth it if
Um,
you can make
yeah.
a big screening of
Yeah,
Alien.
I try to like if it's a movie that I'm even remotely interested in, I've been trying to make those kind of anniversary screenings
Oh yeah.
as much as possible when AMC brings them out. I don't there's not a lot around me, so I don't have choice like I could go out to Atlanta where the those things are, but I always
Hmm.
figured those are going to have like a bigger crowd. And I'm kind of like I'm actually kind of curmudgeonly myself about going to movies. I like to sit in the back. I like to
Right.
sit in the middle. So if I can't get one of those seats, like it's kind of I don't like people sitting behind me is the major issue. It's not
I,
like
I
anything else
got
but
you.
that, but I just don't like it when people sit behind me. It's better now that they've got like the reclining seats. So
Sure.
they've spaced them out a little bit more so you get less contact with people. Um,
Hmm.
so it's usually not too bad if I have to sit a row or two farther up, it's fine. But yeah, no, I'm very much a stickler about where I like to sit.
You know
Um,
what? I get
yeah,
it. Kind of the same way.
yeah.
You
Well,
getting there.
like it's so funny too because I'm weird about like if I go to a restaurant as well, I like to sit where I can like not necessarily see the door, but where I can see most of the restaurant and stuff.
Hmm.
It's like a weird like thing. I don't know. And it was funny too because I'd been doing it for a long time. And then um I think it was a movie that mentioned it too, where somebody was like, "Hey, can we switch seats? I like to be able to see the door." And I was like, "Oh, you know what? I think that might be what it is for me. It's like I like to see the exits. I like to see when people are coming in and out, you know." So it's
Yeah.
like, it's like I don't know, it's like a weird like safety thing, which I didn't realize. So, um,
You're not the first person to tell me they
yeah,
need to see the door.
yeah.
So, it's a thing. It's a whole
It's
thing.
a, yeah. So it's an interesting thing, right? Like an odd quirk of mine. But yeah, no, but I love being able to go to those things. So anytime those I've seen Evil Dead, the original Evil Dead in the theater not too
I
long
have
ago.
too.
They were having their was it the 40th, not the 40th, it must have been the 45th anniversary then. No, no, it would have been the 40th anniversary, yeah. So it was the 40th anniversary of that, and then uh, I can't remember. There were some other good ones I've seen that I'm not thinking of right now. I saw Christine. I saw The Thing, Alien. Saw one of the Star Wars movies not too long ago. Um,
Nice.
yeah, I can't remember which one. I think they're doing Revenge of the Sith again. I think we went and saw Phantom Menace.
Oh, cool.
Oh, you know what? No, it was Return of the Jedi. We went and saw Return of the Jedi. Me and my kids
Nice.
we all went to go see Return of the Jedi.
Very nice.
Um,
Very nice.
yeah, yeah, and they're doing Revenge of the Sith, so I don't think I missed that one, but if I did, it's fine. Um, but yeah, it's definitely fun to, and that's what I like going back to what I'm saying. That's what's fun about getting the AMC A list and everything like that. Sometimes you're able to get into those anniversary screenings with those as well. I get as long as they're not like a weird special event version and they're over the course of multiple days, then it's usually okay.
Hmm.
Like I couldn't get into like when Ghost was doing their tour movie. I couldn't get into that with A list. That was a
Mm.
special event thing that you couldn't get into. The Thunderbolts fan event, which is like earlier in the day, I can't get into that without
Oh,
paying extra, which is fine.
yeah.
It's the most of it's going to be basically the same thing. I might miss out on getting the keychain. So,
Right,
but like
right.
last time, I didn't get to go to the fan event thing for Brave New World, but I still got the keychain by still going on the same day. So they had enough
Nice.
keychains to give people later. So I was like, okay, that's really cool. So hopefully, crossing fingers for that.
Yeah.
But I know I did go to the fan event thing for Deadpool, and I don't remember paying extra for that. So they may have changed their for Deadpool and Wolverine. So they may have changed their their ways on that since then, which is fine. But again, AMC is changing. They're going up a couple bucks. It's only a couple bucks, and they're letting people get 4 movies a week now. So that is nice. So if you want to hit multiple days through the week or even multiple movies through the same day, it's possible. So
Mm.
it'll be a lot of fun. So,
Mm.
but yeah, getting back to this movie, this just it's a lot of fun. It's really violent. There's definitely a lot of gunplay going on in it.
For sure.
But it's a heist movie. There's a lot of stuff going on in it. It's like I said, John Hamm, was it Aiza Gonzalez is in it.
Hmm.
Uh, Jamie Foxx, John Bernthal is barely in it, but he's still memorable in it. Um,
Right. I had thought he was in more of the movie, so that was kind of a
yeah,
surprise today when I watched it. Having just seen him again in Daredevil Born Again. I was like, wait a minute.
yeah,
I thought he was in more of this movie. No, he's really only in the first 20 minutes.
yeah, exactly.
Mm.
So yeah, no, it's really cool though. So it's a lot of fun. I can't think of anything else I wanted to say about it. Is there anything that we missed that you want to talk about?
You know, I there's so much I really enjoy about the film, and I've already said it. Largely, it's music related, but I want to give a quick shout to Lily James because I think she gets a
Yes.
little bit undersung in this film, and she is delightful.
Yeah.
Pulled off that Southern accent so well that I forgot she was British. So good job. Um, but her charm and just she just has like just she embodies like the perfect stereotypical sweet Southern girl
Hmm.
in this film. Like, she is definitely like the kind of girl I grew up around that I was not. I was a little too rough and tumble to be quite like that,
Right.
but she reminded me a lot of some of the other girls I grew up around, and so I think for this film that really works, and she does a really good job with that. And also just the way that she is able to see who baby is at his core
Yeah.
without you know realize even recognizing that, oh, he's mixed up in something dangerous or bad.
Right.
It doesn't mean that he is a bad person. It means he's a kind of a victim of circumstance.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, no,
Mhm.
I think she pulls off a great performance. And yeah, exactly what you said about like, seeing him for who he is and not for what he's doing.
Mhm.
She embraces him for him. Um, and it's good to see that. And it's not like where in other movies like she might like participate in the the chaos and everything like that.
Right.
She definitely like there's a moment where she is helping him, but it's to help him, not to like help the heist or anything else like that. So um I do definitely enjoy that aspect of it. It's a very nuanced performance in that way. So
Mhm. Mhm.
but yeah, all right. Well, if that's all we have, you can let people know where they can find you online.
Sure. Yeah. So you can connect with me a few different ways. You can read my words on my blog, nerdyblogging.wordpress.com. You can read my words on fangirlish.com, where I write about film and television, mostly Star Trek. You can hear me on a few different podcasts. As Rob already mentioned at the top of the show, I am a co host on Mission Log Genealogy, which is all about Gene Roddenberry's pre Star Trek TV writing. So if you're interested in Star Trek, Gene Roddenberry, or classic TV, that might be something you want to check out, or TV history, even. We've gotten to actually do some real TV archaeology lately, and so that's been really cool. You can also hear me on two different shows on the Film Stories podcast network. Those are We Are Starfleet, which is all about Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Most recently, we had an episode drop for First Contact Day, looking at different examples of first contact. So that's really fun. You can also hear me talk about Marvel and all things MCU related on Podcast 616. It's podcast dash 616. And Rob's gotten to be on a few episodes of that. So it's actually how we met, dude. So yeah. So yeah, I was happy to have you on the show. Always happy to have you on.
Yeah, I always
you
have a
can
fun time
also.
on there.
Oh yeah. Well, we always have a fun time having you on there. So hey, the feeling's mutual, my guy. So you can also hear me on the Video Store Podcast. You can check us out at videostorepodcast.com. That's a show I do with myself and two other friends, Rob Flack O'Hara and the Retroist. We offer movie recommendations based around a theme or a director or actor, actress, whatever kind of, trying to give you recommendations based around that theme, like what you would get in a video store. So check us out at videostorepodcast.com. If you want to connect with me on socials, I am on Mastodon, Bluesky, and Facebook at The Nerdy Blogger.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on. I very much appreciate it. It's always fun having you on here.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. This was a fun one to revisit despite the of it all. Everything else about it is great though. Great film, great soundtrack, and maybe it's because I'm getting older or now that I also moonlight as a DJ. I'm recognizing more of the songs and so one song in particular, I was like the Baby by Carla Thomas. I'm like, oh, where have I heard that? Oh, it's in Tank Girl. I love Tank Girl so much. Anyway,
she's a Tank Girl fangirl.
Something like that. I think I'm more of I love the movie and I love Lori Petty. I've never actually read any of the comics, so I'm hesitant to call myself a true Tank Girl fangirl, but I do adore the movie and I especially adore Lori Petty. So
yeah,
but that might be another podcast topic for another day. So anyway,
definitely.
Thanks for having me on, Robert. This is great.
Thanks for coming on. We'll see you again soon.
All right, take care.
Thanks for listening. Creepy and Geeky is produced and hosted by Robert Clark. If you like what you've heard, please consider giving the show 5 stars and a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And share the podcast on social media to help spread the word. Make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app or at creepyandgeeky.com. You can follow the podcast by going to creepyandgeeky.com and clicking on any of the social links. If you'd like to follow me, you can find my links at geekthulu.com. You can support the podcast by ordering teas and more on TeePublic or by donating to the coffee page. All of the links are in the show notes. Finally, don't forget, stay creepy.